Good morning. Okay, I need to know if you are seeing things backwards, like mirrored, because I'm having some technical difficulties. They did an update on the software that I use, and I had trouble getting on, and I just want to make sure. So my one view shows it the right way, but my other view shows it as a mirrored image. It's good? Okay. Well, that's all I care about. I can look at it mirrored on my screen. It doesn't matter. I'm just like, oh my God. Okay. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Amazing. This is not how I like to start a Monday morning, but it is what it is, right? Okay. I'm glad you guys are seeing it perfectly. Good, good. Okay, and my lighting looks weird too. I'll have to do some tests after this video, but I'm hoping it's going to be okay. All right. Well, welcome. We are doing our October calendar launch today, and I'm excited to share the layout and all the fun things that I did with it. I feel like I have definitely a coughing thing going to happen here, and I'm trying to find. Okay, here's a pack. Okay, I think we can solve this problem. Okay, so you're looking at the bundle now. You can see the star of the show is going to be rub-ons. Well, it's not exactly the star of the show, but it's going to be good. I love using rub-ons. I think they offer so many great opportunities. So the bundle doesn't look like much, but we're going to do some fun things with it. Judy says it's a snowy day where she lives. Yes, well, we got a nice blanket of snow here in Elora yesterday. It's still lightly snowing today, and I think we have more coming tomorrow. So there's lots of white, but it's so funny because there's still leaves on the trees. So I don't know what to think. I know my birds are confused because they're really hanging out at my feeders a lot, which are right outside my office window, and I love that. It was quite busy this morning, so they've taken a little break now. I have one lonely little dove sitting in one of my feeders. He would stay there all day if he could. Okay, so you're going to get a sheet of white cardstock. You're going to get one of these amazing sort of, I don't know, is this tweed or it's got a pattern and texture to it. This is from 49 in Market, the Vicki Boutin collection called Curiosities in Willow Grove. It's one of their basics. So you have the sort of tan color on one side, and then you've got this gorgeous yellow on the other. And then you're going to get a full pack of the rub-ons. And there are two packs in here. Two pages in here. So you've got lots of rub-ons to choose from. And then there is a color photo that comes with it as well. Okay, so Judy says, are current rub-ons better than they used to be? Yes. Do not be reluctant, Judy. I think you should dive in with both feet because they are super amazing. So detailed, and they're like butter. So definitely try them out. We are super impressed. We get lots of rub-ons in from 49 in Market and Simple Stories. Shelby, help me out. Are there any other companies that really do great ones lately? I don't recall off the top of my head, but those two for sure. We sell out. Like they're gone. And then sometimes companies will discontinue them right away and we can't even get any more. So yes, and we're going to talk about the Teflon bone folders in a minute. So this is your bundle. And then I'm going to show you the layout because I just think it's so fun. So here is the layout part. Oops, see, now I'm working backwards. Okay, there's the layout part. And I did do some ink smooshing in the background, but areas like this and this and this and this and this, that's all done with the rub-ons. And the nice thing about the rub-ons is that you can layer rub-ons on top of rub-ons. And I think that's kind of a new thing with this recent round of rub-ons versus the ones that were done years ago. And I love that they add so much texture And you can't really tell that it's not part of the paper. Like you have to actually like run your hands over top of it and feel it in order to know whether or not it's a rub-on or something that is part of the paper. So I think they really allow you to create your own backgrounds, which I just love doing. So this is the layout part, and then I'll just scoot over the calendar page part, and that is this part here. And again, rub-ons here, here, underneath here, underneath here. These word strips are also done with rub-ons. So many great things that you can do with them. What do you guys think? We have dead silence. It just feels kind of funny that I'm doing a fall layout with lots of colored leaves, and it looks like even sunshine and stuff in the photos. And then I look out my window and there's snow on the ground, but it's okay. Okay, we love it. Okay, good, perfect. All right, so now let's go through. I can't really get the whole. Whoops. Yeah, okay, so you guys can see this normally, right? Okay, my one screen is showing me a mirrored view, and it's very confusing. But my other screen is showing me a good view, so I think this is going to look correct for you. But I can't get the whole thing on. I'm zoomed in a little bit too far, but it gives you the idea. So we're going to talk about add-ons. And I have a list somewhere right here. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is cardstock. So the October die cuts are here, and the colors that I used for that, we have up as individual sheets. Now I did check inventory on these. Most of them we have a pretty good inventory in, but there are a couple that we're kind of low, and we have ordered them. They're just not in stock. So we're just waiting for them to receive their order, and then they will shoot them off to us. So hopefully not too long, but I know some of you really like to pick up these colors because they do coordinate with the products in the bundle. And if you're creating extra pages or you want to mat your photos or anything like that, it's kind of good to have them. So the first color is mustard, and these are all the Color Vibe papers from Simple Stories. So on one side it's smooth, and on the reverse it has the dot. So it gives you an option, which is kind of nice. Now this is not what I would call regular cardstock where the color runs straight through it. This has a white core. So if I was to tear the edge of this, you would see white in the center, which does lend itself to some really great techniques. So I always like to sand my photos. So that white edge that you see there, you can do the same thing with this paper. You can sand the edges of it and it will give you that nice white edge. So mustard is the first color. And then we have terracotta, just this one here. And then we have oatmeal. So that's a favorite of mine. I love that. And then we have brown, and we have cranberry. So that's the palette that I worked with to create the October letters. And again, they coordinate with all of the colors in the bundle as well. So that if you want to pick up any of those, you can. And then the other cardstock that we have done something special with this month is the cardstock that I used to do all of my die cutting. Now, some of you might think, okay, well, I can use these colors to do my die cutting, which you totally can. But I will tell you, this is a great opportunity if you want to try a different brand of cardstock, or if you want to try the 8.5 by 11 cardstocks that we are all raving about in our card making worlds. So this is the cardstock that we use to do all of our die cutting, make card bases, our layering pieces, and so on. And I don't think Amanda's on here. She's out shopping with Olivia, but she used to use the Color Vibe paper to do all of her cards because that's what she had on hand. And she had a wide variety of it. And then she asked if she could get some of the 8.5 by 11 cardstock to have in her stash to create cards instead. And since she has started using that, she said she would never go back. It really does make a difference in the look of your die cuts. But again, that choice is up to you. But what we've done is we have opened up the packages. This is Spellbinders cardstock. We've opened up the packages so you can purchase individual sheets. Now, normally you have to buy them in packs of 10 or 15 or 12 or whatever the manufacturer packages them in. But for the calendar, we thought rather than you having to buy a whole pack, we would open them up and sell them in individual sheets. Now, this is not going to be a regular thing, but for this particular project, we have decided to do that. So you can purchase individual sheets. They're 8.5 by 11. One sheet would do all the stuff that you need to do for die cutting and stuff. So the colors that we're using are spellbinders. And the first one is cinnamon, which is the one on top here. Okay, so that's this color. And then we've got terracotta. We've got truffle, which is the dark brown. And then we've got fawn. Okay, now I have more of this ordered from Spellbinders. So, and that order has already shipped, but our next shipment doesn't come across the border until the 20th of November. So if we do happen to run out, then I don't know if Shelby plans on putting it up for pre-order. I think she does, but if not, just keep an eye on the calendar section. And as soon as they become available again, we'll pop them back up there. So I'm pretty sure, though, she says she's going to set up a pre-order. So if it does run out, you can pre-order them. And then when they arrive, we'll just pop them into your box for you. Okay. So those are the 4 colors that I used. Now, I also used a yellow that you'll see here, but that is the paper that comes in your bundle, because we're going to actually cut out the center of the paper, and then we're going to have paper left over from inside. And that's where the yellow comes for the tags and any of the yellow leaves that you see. Okay, so that is the cardstock part. And then obviously I talked about the calendar die cuts. You can buy those in a little bag. They are right here. They're already cut out for you. Same font all year, et cetera, et cetera. And then we have the calendar paper that a lot of you are loving and using. Oh, I've got stuff on top of my sheet. All the time when you're creating your layouts. Now, we did receive some news recently that Photoplay has closed their doors. They're not going to be doing products anymore, and they didn't give us any warning at all. So we weren't able to order lots of this paper, but don't worry. The people who make our blank calendars for us, I went to them with a sheet of this, and they've recreated this for us, and we've already got 1,000 sheets in our hands and ready to go for when we run out of this. So it's exactly the same, except the font that is used up here is changed a little bit. It's the font that we use a lot when we do our marketing stuff. It's in our logo. It's in the blank calendars that they're already printing for us and so on. I actually like it better. So it's amazing. And I know some of you saw that news and people were buying the calendar paper like crazy, like 24 and 36 sheets at a time, because I know you were worried that we weren't going to be able to get it. But don't worry, ladies. We always look after you. Yes. So we've already secured 1,000 sheets, and we can have it printed anytime. And better, it's Canadian, and it's right around the corner from where we are. So we can get it anytime we need it. So we don't have to stress about that. Okay. So this is the blank calendar sheet that you can purchase if you're going to do that second side of your layout. And I should say too, we just got a shipment of the 12 by 12 blank calendars. So if you are doing this as a calendar to give as a gift, or even for yourself, you can purchase those now. We had run out, but we've got more in stock now. So I'm thinking for 2026, I want to rename this series because it's not really a calendar series anymore. Does anybody got any good ideas for names? I know we talk about the calendar series, and it did replace our calendar kits that we used to do, but I don't know that I want to carry on calling it our calendar series. There is a blank calendar sheet involved, but I'm just not sure if I want to continue with that name. So we'll have to give that some thought. But if anybody has any great ideas, feel free to put them in the comment. Monthly memories. Yes, I did think about that one. And Shelby's very good at coming up with these really punny and very clever names kind of on the fly. So yeah, I think, and again, I would be interested just in the comments. I mean, there's 33 of you here. If you could just let me know, like, do you actually do a calendar, or do you do it for your scrapbook? Do you do the calendar side, or do you just do this side? like, I'm just kind of wondering what everybody does with this. I mean, we sell a lot of these calendar pages. I know that. So I think a lot of people do incorporate this side of it. Sometimes it's my favorite part. I was really impressed. I was showing my husband this morning the page, and every single one of our family members, like my immediate family, is on this page, and that doesn't happen very often. Like both my sons are on here. My son-in-law is on here. My husband and myself. The grandkids are all represented. So it's pretty cool. And these are just little snippets of things that happened in the month of October. Now, mine is last year because I'm working on last year's photos just so I can work ahead. And I kind of laugh because I don't really work ahead. Like literally the ink is probably not even dry on this, but I do both sides. It got me scrapping again. Oh, I am with you. Tanya, I was really frustrated with my scrapbooking journey. I wasn't getting anything done. I actually have almost 3 completed albums now. I just pulled my album out a minute ago and just looked through it quickly. And it's my 3rd full album, 3 full years of scrapbooking. It's amazing. Do both sides each month, do the calendar pages, and these pages act as my scrapbook dividers. Yep, that's a great idea too, Allison. I love that. They're kind of like the title page for the month, and then you can definitely do layouts in between. And one day when I retire and I don't have anything else to do, that is my plan, is to kind of go back and just hit some of the highlights. But right now, this is all I have, and at least it's getting the really important things out of my phone and onto layouts, which I love. Okay, so Cheryl is doing 2 of them for each of my adult kids with their pictures. Oh, I bet you. It's a great project. That's actually really cool. You know, I couldn't do that for my boys because they don't supply me with enough photos. I could do it for Amanda, but I could not do it for my boys. Although if I told them that that's what I was going to do next year, I bet you they would come up with lots of photos for me if I really wanted to. But for me, I'm just doing it for me, but this is how I scrapbook. This is what I do. Okay, anyways, back on track here. Sanding block, T-ruler, like those things are kind of staples each month. The sanding block and the T-ruler. I like to sand my photos. The T-ruler really helps you line things up. If you're like me, you put things on the page, come back to it the next day and go, wow, that's not even straight. But that really helps me. I will be using the Distress ink in Walnut Stain and my applicator. I did do quite a bit of inking and distressing on my papers this month. I will be using my favorite cloth. Again, we do have a restock on the way for these, but we do have some in stock, but we're going to make our smooshing tool again, and that's how I'm going to do the background. But I also use this for cleanup too. So, and then when I'm done with these, they get stained, but I just throw these in the washing machine and dryer. Well, my jeans don't go in the dryer, but I throw them in with my darks. And then I just throw them in dryer, and then I can add them back to my room again. So I have a handful of those that I use all the time. So the glue press. Now, we're working with small die cuts again this month, and I can't tell you enough how incredibly cool this tool is. I was away on the weekend scrapbooking, card making with my girlfriends for 2 solid days, and this did not, it was not out of my hand for very long. So I did a little maintenance on my glue press this weekend before I left. And what I did was I took the lid off, and then I also took off, let me get this undone here. I also took this off, the whole lid, and I rinsed it under hot water. And then I used my pin and I went in from the inside down the hole and through the tube. And because I just was finding that the flow of my glue was a little bit slower than normal. And there was definitely some dried up stuff in this chamber. So I was able to get all of that out. And I didn't use like boiling hot water or anything, but you can, if you're having a real problem, take this lid and soak it in boiling hot water for a little bit, clean it all out, and then take a pin and go from the inside and just clear out that chamber really well. And I had no issues at all with it on the weekend. So the glue press is definitely a must-have tool, and I highly recommend it, especially when you're working with smaller die cuts. Like the stems on these leaves and stuff are quite intricate, so it just makes it so much easier. So the glue press is definitely on there. Bone folders for rub-ons. So I have been using, did I do with them? The heck? I had them out. Oh my gosh. Well, I just had them out. I had to unpack them. And I have all of mine in one place because I unpacked them and I put them on my tray. Where did they go? Okay, well, I use the Teflon bone folders. What the heck? And that's what I use to apply my rub-ons. I wish I had them here to show you because I just had them out. Does anyone see them on my screen? No? Okay, well, I'm not sure where they rolled off to, but oh, here they are. They're underneath my craft mat. Okay, so these are the two styles that I like to use. I find myself using this one more often. I use this to score as well as do rub-ons, and I like the really pointy end on it. So like you can really get in and get the small pieces. This one is definitely nice for folding and creasing your card bases. But the larger end is also nice for doing larger rub-ons. So I kind of grab both of them. I quite like them, and they are worth every penny. They're just amazing tools. So definitely look at those. So Allison, what is she saying here? So let me just see here. Show. Okay, so she's saying, are there any tricks you can provide for refilling the small bottle, or do you just rebuy full small bottles for the glue press? Okay, Allison, so funny story. I just saw on another website, and I don't remember which one it was, but what they did, so she was trying to refill her glue bottle on her glue press, and her husband came in the room and said, what are you doing? Because she was getting air bubbles, and it takes a long time because the glue is kind of thick, so it takes a while for it to run out. And he said to take your glue bottle, let me just pull it out here. So the glue press only holds this bottle, the Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, and this is the 60 mil. Now, sad news is that this particular glue is out of stock until January. They just had a restock, but unless you were like on your computer when they posted it, you didn't get any. And I didn't happen to be on my computer when they posted it. So thousands and thousands of bottles sold out in minutes. It was just crazy. So we are stocking until January when they get their next restock. And then you can just buy a replacement bottle and pop it in and carry on. But if you want to use, let's say, a different glue, or if you want to refill your bottle, because we do, correct me if I'm wrong, Shelby. Okay, good. We do have the 120 ml bottles, so you can pour glue into this. But what you want to do is take your glue bottle, the one that you have the glue in, and put it in warm water. So just put it in a cup of warm water. And what that does is it softens the glue inside here, and it will make it flow easier into this bottle. Okay, so now that's this Nuvo glue. I don't know about other brands of glue. I know everybody has a favorite glue, and I really like the Nuvo glue. So that's all I use in my glue press. The viscosity of this glue is perfect for the tip that comes on the bottle. I've tried to change to the larger tip, and the flow is way too fast. And I find I get glue everywhere, but this works quite well. And so I'm not interested in really putting a different glue in my glue press. But if you want to, it does, the flow and the way that it behaves is going to differ depending on how thick or thin your glue is. So that is something that you have to be mindful of. But if you just put the bottle that has the glue in it that you want to put in here into like a cup of warm water, just to warm that glue up and soften it a little bit, then it will flow nicely into your bottle. So whether you're putting it into here or whether you're putting it into those little bottles with the metal tips on them, I don't have one of those. Oh yes, I do. Like a bottle like this, you know, same thing. You want to kind of warm that glue up a little bit and just, you know, pour it in that way. So yeah, I'm in agreement with Judy. I've tried a few other glues and I really don't like it. I love the way that Nuvo glue works, and the bottle fits in there. So, and again, I think if you maintain your bottle once in a while, then like you get an oil change on your car, you know, so you can continue to drive it. So if you want to continue to use your glue press and have success, then definitely do some maintenance with it. Like, you know, clean that lid out once in a while. Like, I'm not saying like every time you use it, you know, like I had never done it, and I've had my glue press for like over a year. So definitely kind of clean that, that nozzle out once in a while. And also it is helpful, although you can leave your glue press on the stand without the lid for long periods of time. Air will get inside. And I mean, I'm guilty of this. Like I use my glue press, and then 2 weeks later I come back to do something and I'm like, oh, I left the lid off. And if I fuss with it for a minute, the glue starts flowing and it's fine. But, you know, try to remember to put your tip on here. And then that will block the air from going inside. And always make sure you're putting your glue press back on the stand while you're using it. Don't just kind of lay it down on the table, because while it's laying there, first of all the glue is running back, and air is getting inside that tip. So if you are diligent about putting it back in the holder, then that'll offer better success as well. Okay, but these Teflon bone folders are amazing for working with rub-ons. Okay, so let's remove Allison's comment here. Okay, back to this. All right, and then stapler. So I use the tiny attacher and the little staples. They're just like smaller, cuter little staplers, because I did use sections where I tore back and I stapled them down on the edges. So that is something if you want to grab that. And then any kind of clear sequin or drops or something like that. I did add a few little gems and things throughout my layout. I like the neutrals. I think I'm off screen. Whoa, let's go this way. I like the gems and drops in a neutral tone, but you can use colored ones as well, whatever makes you happy. And then as far as physical, like stamps, dies, things like that we're using, this month I am using products from Simple Stories. And I'll show those to you here. So we're going to be using this set here. It's called Falling Leaves, and it is from Spellbinders. And it will give you your leaves, your acorns, and your acorns come in 2 different sizes. I used some of the small and the large. This is a great set. I love that you can use it with or without the stems, and the stems can be used on their own as well. But I use them to make holes in my tags, and then I also use them to create the leaves and things as well. And then the other one I'm using is the Documenting Labels, and that is where I got all of these great tags here with the words impressed in them. You see that? That says autumn, and then leaves, and fall. So those are really cool. And then I also used this label here for this side of the page. And I created these word strips with that. And that's using the rub-ons and those labels. And then I also used the tag that was the perfect size for the tags on this layout as well. So I used this quite extensively, and this, and then Better Press came out, or Spellbinders Better Press came out with another set of these amazing sentiments, and they're called Autumn Sentiments. And then you can see them used on here as well. I've used these before in other themes, and I absolutely love them. So if you have collected them, they do have a small one. It's just a small one. It only has 3 sentiments in it. Gather and give thanks, grateful for you, and sending autumn cheer. So you can use them for cards or you can use them for layouts, but it is Better Press. So you need the Better Press machine in order to stamp them. And then if you want to foil them, you can use Glimmer. So that is cool. And then I did have some tiny hearts that I have on my layout. And that is done using this little set here. I used it once before on something, and it's called Dinky Decorations. You know, I am not happy with my camera today. Something is weird. I'm sorry for the quality of this because I'm seeing it's kind of blurry and fuzzy. I don't know what happened, but anyways, this is it. And these tiny little hearts here are what I used on my layout. So you may have something that has a heart on it already. I know Shelby put a couple of sets up in the shopping section that have hearts in them as well. So if you're lacking in that department, and we can always order this one. This was released last year at Valentine's Day. It's called Dinky Decorations. It's got some cute stuff in it, just, basics that you might not have in your stash. So if you want me to order this, it's clear for you. Okay, good. I'm glad. I don't know. Something's going on weird with my thing, but I'll have to look into that. Yeah. So if you want us to get this one for you, just email the store and we will definitely do that. Okay. And then the other thing that I did use on my tags are the tag reinforcements. We've used these before. They're from Tailored Expressions as well. I don't know that I did tell Shelby that they might be in the shopping section. We try to keep these in stock. They come and they go. So, I'm not sure what the status is. Sold out right now. Okay. But, we will add them to our shopping list again, because it's a staple. We kind of have them all the time. And then Waffle Flower also has a set of, tag toppers. So, they would work too. And I think in this set here, yeah, so you can get the little circles that you can kind of put at the top too. So if you like that, but I know many of you have bought the tag reinforcements, over the calendar, journey, because I've used them lots of times. So that is all of the stamps, dies, etc. I am using the thickers that we used last month again this month. So these are the Peppermint Kisses thickers. They come in black and gold in the same package. There's 2 pages in each one. This is my first set. I had to dip into a second set. So if you did the same title I did last time, and then you're doing this one, you're going to need a second package. Now we've ordered more of these twice. So we've got kind of an inventory buildup for them. People are buying them 3 and 4 packs at a time. I will be using these again. I love the font. This time I used the title Counting My Blessings on my page. But, with a set of alphas like this, you can spell whatever you want, but they are consumable. So it's not like a die set where you can just cut out more. So if you really like them, make sure you grab them. Now, I did say that I might use them at Christmas with the gold, but I'm not going to promise to do that because I don't know yet. Sometimes I have a plan in my head, and then when I start creating, things go in a completely different direction. So I don't want to be kept in a box. I want to be able to do what feels good. So just so you know, those will be popping up. So definitely grab a few of those if you're interested in them. And then inks that I used this time, I did use that Distress ink in Walnut Stain. But then I'm also using a couple of oxide inks to create my background, Hickory Smoke and Frayed Burlap. So we do have some of these in stock now. We've got more on order, and Shelby's ready to put up a pre-order if necessary. So they shouldn't be too long, maybe a week or so before they would be in stock. Our order's already in, and that's from our regular distributor. They usually ship pretty quickly. So, but yeah, so those are the 2 inks I'm going to use to do my background. And then black ink for spatter. Oh, Cooper is saying hello. Have you all heard? And if you missed it, I did post some pictures of him on the weekend. I keep telling the garbage can story, and I did post the photos of him in my garbage can. And yes, so he's wandering around right now. Ink for splattering with black. I like to use the Winsor & Newton black ink for splatter. And then also the brushes. I did add these to our shopping section. We're getting low on these, so I'm going to have to look into getting more. Oh, good. There's 3 options up for black splatter. Awesome. And then I did add these to our shopping section as well. This is the set of brushes from Yasu Tomo. And they just have different size tips on them. I use them a lot for splattering, depending on the size of splatter that I want. So use those a lot. And then you want some sort of non-stick surface, like non-porous surface. So whether it's the craft sheet, which we are sold out of, we will have more of these coming. It's a staple for us. I like to use my glass mat as my surface, but I often pull out this little 6x9 one to do my ink smooshing and stuff with. And then that way I can just move it out of the way when I'm done, and I don't have to worry about messing up my pages. And then finally, the last thing would be black and white twine. I use that to create this banner. We sell this by the yard. I think 2 yard minimum, and 2 yards is plenty. So if you buy the 2 yard length, you'll have lots of twine to do that banner. Okay, any questions about add-ons? You guys are very quiet today. I feel like I'm talking to myself. Feel free to jump in. Yeah, so any other questions about add-ons? No? Okay. So let's go through measurements. So I'll slide this one across. We'll just use this one right now. And the white cardstock that you have in your kit, eventually you're going to trim it to measure 11.5 by 11.5. I recommend doing your background first, like your ink smooshing and splattering, and then trimming it down. Because if your splatter tends to be a little to the left or a little to the right, you can trim more off the one side. So that's how I usually do it. But obviously you can do it however you want. But you're eventually going to trim it to 11.5 by 11.5, and it will lay on top of this yellow Staples paper that we've provided for you. And that paper, you're going to cut the center of it out. So you have a 1-inch border, which I will demonstrate for you. And then the piece that pops out of here, you're going to use for your tags, because this paper is double-sided. So on one side you have the yellow, but on the other side you have this brown. And the brown is going to be used for those large tags that I've got my grandsons on. And then the yellow you're going to use for your tags and some leaves as well. But you'll have lots of extra cardstock in your pack to do that. Wow. Having this mirrored is really messing with me. Okay, so you'll have lots of yellow and tan to do that with. And then the tags themselves, these large ones, these banner pieces, they measure 3 inches across and 4.5 down. And then what you're going to do is cut a V in the bottom. And how I do that is I find the center point. So this is 3 inches across. So at 1.5 inches, I'm going to measure up about 3/4 of an inch, put a little dot there, and then you're going to cut from the corner up to the dot for each one. You can do one and then use that as a template for the second one. I just measure and do them both that way, but I find that works really well. So definitely give that a try, and it works really well. I don't have like a die or a template that I use. That's all I do is just find that center point, which is 1.5 inches, and then measure up 3/4 of an inch, put your dot there, and then cut up from the corners, and you'll get that great banner. These are 3x4 photos, I believe. I did trim them, maybe, yes, to 2.5 by 3.5. So they were 3x4s, but I trimmed them down to 2.5 by 3.5. And that way they fit nicely on those banner pieces, and they allow a nice border all the way around. So that worked really well. I really wanted to get this picture of Olivia, which I ended up using over here. So this photo here, I was playing with it down here, but it was making it look too cluttered. So I decided just to move it over to this side. So these 2 photos here and these 3 photos here were all taken at the same time. And I had printed out this leaf photo, which I really liked, but I just didn't want a picture of a leaf. So I ended up using it as a backdrop for my photos here, which I kind of thought was clever. And then I overlapped this one, but this one here, I just put right on top. And because you sand the edges, see how that looks? It just worked out really well. So I was able to incorporate the leaf and then use those other 2 pictures as well, which I kind of thought was cool. But anyways, so that is the measuring for the papers and things. So not too complicated. And then for all the photos on this side, I've talked about it before, I collage my photos. So I used to have an iPhone, but about a year and a bit ago, I switched to an Android phone. And for me, I have something built right into my phone. I don't use an app anymore. That just allows me to make a collage on a 4x6 background and then print it out. So that's how I do it. And what I do is I just collect all the photos that I want to use. And sometimes with my collage, I will pick 4 photos or 2 photos and print them out. But sometimes I pick, 6 or 7 photos. So the more photos you choose, the smaller they get. And then you can choose the orientation of your 4x6 base. So whether you want it to go horizontally or vertically, and that will change the orientation of your photos. And what I do is I just collect all the photos I want. I put them in those collages. I print them out, cut them up, and then I just sort of play with them and get them to fit however I want. There's no big trick to it. And it's worked for me every single time. The odd time I have a few photos left over that don't make the page, but the key is to use a bunch of different sizes. And that's how you're going to get this really cool look. So some months I don't have quite as many photos, so I'll leave them a little bit bigger. Some months I have more and they tend to get kind of tiny, which is okay too. But for me, the important thing is to get most of them on there. And then I also like to sand the edges of them, and then I pop them up. Like these 2 here are flat, but then this one is popped up, and this one is popped up, and this one is popped up. This one here's flat. These are popped up. These 2 are flat. This one's popped up. So it does create depth and dimension. Tatum, I don't use an app. It's built right into my phone. I don't even have to use an app, but there are lots of collaging apps out there. Some are free, some that you have to pay for. It doesn't matter what app you use, as long as you have options for collaging. That's all that matters. Again, don't worry about sizing or anything like that. Just collect your photos, plunk them in, print out several, cut them up, and then just start playing. And it'll work for you every time. And it's also nice to have some that are going vertically and some that are going horizontally. So really try to mix that up, because that's where you're going to get the variety. But I love this. Even if you aren't doing this calendar side and you want to collage photos for full-size layouts, I mean, it's a great way to get lots of pictures on. And it creates a lot of interest, as far as, what to look at and all that sort of stuff. And I mean, this is my family, so I really like to get them all on there, and I, shove my face right in there and check them all out. So anyways, that is that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to cut the center out of this paper so you can see how that's done. For that, you need some sort of a trimmer that has a blade that has a point on it. I would think on a rotary trimmer, it's a bit tricky to do this. You definitely can't do it on a guillotine style trimmer, which is disappointing for me because that's the style that I really love to use. First thing you're going to do is get rid of your barcode here. And not all papers are true 12 by 12, so make sure that you are removing all of the barcode. And then what you're going to do on my style of trimmer, I can actually measure on both sides of the cutting line. So I'm going to measure, put the edge of my paper on the 1-inch mark. Okay. And then I'm going to start my blade. Oops, where did my 1-inch mark go? There we go. I'm going to start my blade at the 1-inch mark on my ruler, and I'm going to stop at 11 down here. I'm not going to cut straight through. Now, if you can't measure on this side, you just measure from the end here. So you're going to move your paper into 11 inches, and that will have it hang over 1 inch from your cutting line over here. Okay. So then you're just going to, it doesn't have to be exact, but you're going to start at 1 inch and cut down to 11. And then you just rotate your paper. Just ignore that sound. It's somebody's messaging me. Okay. And then you're just going to do the same thing all the way around your paper. And then where those lines intersect, that's where it's just going to pop your paper, the center of your paper right out. I use this trick a lot because you waste a lot of paper just covering it up. If only you're only going to see a slim little border of this, it allows you to use, like I'll show you, this whole big piece would have been wasted. But now we can use all of this paper. Plus it does cut down on the bulk of your albums, and it's not that big of a deal, but you start putting, 20, 30, 40 pages in an album. If they all have that extra bit of cardstock and stuff in there, then it starts to build up. So, so there's my frame. And then once I cut down my my paper, when I'm finished, I will lay that on there, and it's going to create that border all the way around. Okay. So the next step is going to be to create our background. Now I'm going to trim off the barcode again. We'll use this trimmer one more time. My big guillotine trimmer is kind of awkward to put on the screen, but I do prefer it. This style of trimmer leaves a drag on your paper, which I'm not really fond of. And that is why I like to use my guillotine. Okay. So here we have our 12 by 12 piece of cardstock. And what we're going to do is we are going to create a background using those Distress Oxide inks that we talked about before and a smooshing tool. It's handmade. I watched Kathy Zilski make this in one of her videos. She saw somebody else do it. I don't even remember who. But this has been a game changer for me when creating backgrounds. So if you don't really love the mixed media adventure, this is going to make things much better for you, because you don't have to, it kind of takes some of the guesswork out. You have a little more control, and it's not as messy. And I like that. So I'm going to pull in my little glass board here, and I'm going to start by putting on the gray cards, the gray ink. So I take this and I smoosh it onto my surface, and then I'm going to take this mister. This is the Mighty Mister from Spellbinders, and I'm just going to. So when you miss this, when you pull the trigger, it slowly releases the mist. So this is about a 3/4 squeeze of water. Okay, so and that's just gonna dilute the ink, and then we go in with the smooshing tool, just kind of smoosh it around, and then you're going to take this and you're going to start dabbing it on your background until you are happy with the coverage and the look of the ink that you're doing. Now I'm going to show you what I'm kind of going for here. I'll just get this down first. I want some of the ink to come down here. Okay, so like if you want bigger, blobbier sections, you can totally achieve that by getting a little bit more ink on your surface and gathering it up into one spot. Okay, so there are my ink smooshing for the first layer. Doesn't look like much. You kind of have to trust the process, and it will get better as it goes along. Okay, so now once this is done, I can just take my cloth and just wipe this surface up, and it dries pretty quickly, and then it's ready for the next color. But this is not. This has to be completely dry before you can add your second color. So in my real life, if I was creating this, most of the time I would put that layer down, and then I would go off and do something else, like change the laundry or make lunch, or I might do this like at night and then go watch TV and then come back to it in the morning. Depending on how much water you load on here, it's going to depend on how quickly it dries. Now, this is going pretty quickly. I probably don't have to use my heat tool. I try not to use my heat tool, but a heat tool is a good tool to have. I have it here. This is an older one. They don't make this one anymore, but there's this style, and there's also the Tim Holtz heat gun as well. I think those are coming. We've sold out of them again. So when I can do it naturally, I do, but sometimes I'm impatient, or if I'm doing a live, you want it to go faster. So, but this feels dry. Now, the reason you want it to dry is because when colors mix together, sometimes they don't mix together nicely, and you end up with mud, and that's not what you want. But if you let this dry completely, then you can go in and you can add another layer, and that's what we're going to do with the frayed burlap. Okay, now this kind of looks like baby poop. It's not a really nice color when you just look at it, but I quite like how they blended together and how well they went with this palette that we're working with. So again, I'm just going to smoosh that on there. I'm going to give this a spray, and I'm going to now come in and do my next layer. Whoops. Okay, I just got a big blob on there. Where's my cloth? It's going to be fine. I just don't want it to be a big blob. Okay, so this is a little bit more ink and a little bit more water, and you're just going to lay that color over top. You don't want to cover up the gray. You're kind of enhancing it, okay? So see how you get those sort of larger blobs? I really love that look. And don't forget to come down into this section too, and over to the sides, because you're going to put banners on there. So you want to make sure that this color shows in all the areas, but you don't want to cover it up. You just want to sort of add to it. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to wipe off my tool. So this tool is so cool. So all this is a Ziploc sandwich bag and my cloth squished up inside there. And then you just tie it with a string. And I use this over and over and over. And you can even use your alcohol spray. So I have alcohol in here. You can even use this alcohol spray, just spritz it on here and then wipe it off with a cloth, and that will clean that surface off. Okay. Oh, yeah. So this is like, don't they do like psychological testing when you like look at stuff like this, and what do you see? So Deborah McNeil says she sees the map of Africa or an elephant's face. That's hilarious. So I'm just going to slide this over for a second. I'm just going to quickly pick up this ink. Okay, now because I've been using this for oxides, I'm just going to use some of my alcohol spray too. So these cloths are quite absorbent. So you can really use it like all day in the craft room, sometimes for weeks before you have to wash it. Okay, so now because I sprayed that with alcohol, that's going to dry really quick. And then you're going to be able to use that surface again. Okay, so now the next step would be splattering. Now, I am not going to splatter. I don't like to splatter in my craft room because it ends up going everywhere. I do have a splatter box, and it is helpful. But no matter what I do, I end up with black on everything, or white, or gold, or whatever color I'm splattering. So I'm not going to splatter, but I would take that black ink. And, oh, this is the other thing I recommend too, is an eyedropper. And I put these in the shopping section. So the opening for this bottle is quite narrow. And to dip right into the ink, sometimes I like to dilute the ink a little bit. Or, and I don't want to wet my brush and put it in because you don't want to dilute the whole container. So what I do is I take the eyedropper and I just pick up and drop one drop on here, and then I can work with it however I want. That way you're not wasting a lot of ink, and it keeps the ink that's in here in its true form. So these little eyedroppers are handy to have. We sell them individually, so you can pick those up online too. So you can see that this is already drying, and look at how the oxide inks create sort of a chalky look. And I love this part right here. See how it's kind of mixed the two colors together? And you get a really, really cool finish on it. So that's kind of how I created the background. And then you get your splatter on there. And then what you're going to do, let me get my page over here, is it may not look exactly as it does on here. This is where you're going to start playing with those rub-ons. Now, you have the benefit of knowing how the finished layout is going to look. But I sort of laid out my this part here, and then I started to look at where I could tuck rub-ons in and where I wanted to add some more color. Because if you look at my page, it's much more colorful than this is. But I'm going to take the rub-on sheet here, and I'm going to point out what I did where. Okay, so let's start in this top corner. Okay, so we're going to look at this piece right here. So that is this little leaf section. Now, when you're working with the rub-ons, now I have some extras here. Let's just see where mine are. I always cut them apart with my scissors. Don't take the sheet and put it down and try to just rub on a certain section, because that will be a total fail. The rub-ons have a bit of a tackiness to them. And what'll happen is things are going to stick in places that you don't want them to, and you're going to end up with a wasted rub-on or a wasted sheet of paper. So I'm just going to grab just a scrap piece of paper here, and I'm going to show you how easy this is. So let's just pick, I want to pick a backdrop. So we'll pick this leaf here. Okay. So let's say that I'm going to put that on. So all I'm going to do now, I left it together. So you've got the backing sheet and the front on, and you're simply going to cut out the area that you want. So that means the backing stays on this. And you want to make sure you're getting all these little blobs of color and all the fun stuff that's around that rub-on. Okay. Oops. Now, when I'm ready to put this on, that's when you remove the backing. Okay. And now this is going to be a little bit tacky. So you want to be careful to get it in the spot that you want. Now, I'm not really doing anything spectacular here. So you're just going to put that down. So it kind of holds it in place. Now let's see. Okay, here we go. Let's get my bone folders here. So because this is quite a large rub-on, I'm going to start with this one. And I'm going to start rubbing this transfer over onto my paper. Now, ladies, this is as easy as it is. Like, it's so easy. Now, once you've done that, what I suggest you do is slowly start to lift it up. And if you see that there are parts of the rub-on that are still stuck to the piece that you're peeling off, just lay it back down and rub that little section. And that's where the pointy one comes into play. And I find too, if you have a smaller one or you really want to get into an area, like this is just like holding a pencil. It's so easy. Okay, so you just slowly lift this up. Okay, so I can see right here that the leaf didn't totally transfer. So I just take this, rub it, now it's down. Perfect. So I just kind of go around and they come off very, very easily. But when you're rubbing the whole design, it's hard to tell what you rubbed and what you didn't. So this is an easy way to just make sure you get the whole design. Okay, so there we go. Now we have this piece rubbed onto our thing. Now you would never know looking at that that wasn't part of the paper. Now let's say you want to add, I hate to waste this, but I'm gonna, woo. So let's just take this beautiful text. Okay, so this says Thanksgiving, and I am just going to place this. I'm taking one for the team here, guys, because I do not like to waste stuff, but I'm just going to offset this a little bit. I feel like an artist when I do this, honestly. So I'm just layering it over the one that I already did. I don't like that one. I'm going to use the end of this. Okay, so I'm just going to rub this on. So Judy says splattering happens in her garage. Yes, it will now. I've been known to run out on my front lawn. I'm sure my neighbors wonder what the heck I'm doing. My driveway, you know, different things like that. But I definitely don't like to splatter in my craft room if I can avoid it. Okay, so we're just going to, now because I'm rubbing a rub-on on a rub-on, you just want to make sure that you're taking your time and making sure that you have it all down. I mean, most of it is down, but every once in a while, like the little part of the G didn't stick or, you know, whatever, like this part, the V didn't go down. Well, now it's down. So just take your time and pull back gently. The top of my A didn't stick, but now it is. But I love layering the rub-ons. I think they look so good. And this will blend right on top of the piece that you've already done your ink smooshing on. And that's the other thing is you want to make sure that that's dry before you go ahead and put the rub-on on. If your surface is damp at all, the rub-on will not stick. So if you've ink blended a background, like just like regular ink blending, and the ink is a little bit damp, then the rub-on's not going to stick. So you want to make sure it's completely dry, and then you can do it. But look at this. Isn't that amazing? Like I created that. Can I really say I did? It's kind of cheating, but that's very similar to what I did right here. Okay, so I used this rub-on, placed it, and then I put the Hello Autumn over top. So that's how easy it is to create this section right here. And then down here, we've got that really cool pumpkin. And then there's even a little bit of this brown blob right here. That goes right here. I just overlapped those, and then I put my die cuts right over top, and I added a little heart. And then over here, we have this leaf cluster right here. I just did that right here. And then I layered my leaves over top. And then this one right here, is this piece right here. Okay, so it's tucked underneath, but it comes all the way out to here. So like this orange part right here is all part of the rub-on. So it adds color and really awesome. I love how it looks. Okay, so we did this section, we did that, we did this, we did this, we did this. So that's that side. Okay, and then this side right here, I have this piece right here is what I used up here. And then down here, I love that section. That's this one here. It's got that burst of orange. And then I put the Glorious Days rub-ons over top of that. And then down here in this corner, did I do anything down there? I can't remember. I think I did. I covered it up, so I'm not sure. Maybe not. That might have just been, I don't know. I can't tell. See, this is the thing. You can't tell. But you could put a little leaf or something down here. Oh, there's one in here too. But I mostly covered that up. That one here has a lot of green in it. Oh, it's this one here. That one went in here. I don't think I did anything down here. But again, I did that ink smooshing just in these 3 areas with my smooshing tool. Same way as I did it on the large page. I just did the sections that I had open areas in. And then I ended up layering my leaves and things on top. So that's basically how I did that. And then these banners here are using these words here, like the thankful, fabulous, together, autumn. And I just used one of those die cut banners from this set, this piece here. And when you die cut this out, see how it does that detailed etching on the die cut? That actually transfers, and I don't know if the camera will pick it up. It transfers. So this is like dented in, and that those words fit perfectly on top of there. So just to give you a little bit closer look at some of these sections. I love this part. Isn't it cool? So yeah. And I was telling Shelby that I can't believe how well my pictures matched the colors of the layout. That is totally a fluke. Like these papers and everything, this is all picked out long before I ever go to look at my photos. I never look at my photos until I'm ready to put them on the page. So the fact that it matches so well is just a complete fluke. But yeah, it turned out quite well. And if it doesn't, then you can always flip your photos to black and white as well. I've done that before. And they don't all have to be black and white, just some of them. So if somebody's wearing some obnoxious color that doesn't work for your page, just make it black and white. You can do that too. Okay, I did want to mention, I already talked about the calendar paper, how we have secured a new manufacturer for that. So we don't have to worry about running out of those sheets. So if you panic bought, you'll be stocked, but no need to panic. And also make sure you're watching for your notifications for pickup and shipping for the calendar bundles. We are a bit slammed right now. On Thursday, we received our Lawn Fawn order and our Gina K order, and both of those had big, huge pre-orders in it. So we are processing a lot. Plus, now we will have a lot of orders with the calendar. So we just need a little bit extra time. We're hoping to have them all processed by Wednesday, but I don't want you jumping in the car tomorrow, coming up to the store to pick up your calendar bundle, and it's not ready. So just wait for your notification to say your order is ready for pickup or it's ready to ship or whatever. And then you're off to the races. But we just need just that little bit of extra time in order to make sure everything is processed properly. We don't want to rush. We want to make sure that everything is right and that everybody gets the stuff that they need. So, okay. Anybody have any other questions they need to ask regarding the layout? If you don't mind, on your way out, just make sure you give our video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, because we would love for you to do that. And I'm hoping to be back tomorrow with a new product live, but watch your social media posts for that. And I will be sending out an email later on today for stuff about the Lawn Fawn pre-order, the Gina K stuff, the Gina K Christmas, 12 Days of Christmas box, Wow. All I can say is wow. We had so many orders. We've got hundreds of them coming in. That's how busy it is. Our name was all over the Gina K page, which was amazing. So anyways, we'll have information coming about all that stuff too. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and we will see you all very soon.